To be honest, like just from playing sports, just like when you step on the field, you're confident, bro.
Yeah.
Like I work hard, so I know when I step out there, when I open my mouth, everybody gonna listen.
You don't expect me to be able to articulate my business, right?
This is the first conversation. He just came up to you and was like trying to put people on. Welcome to Players Talk Business Podcast. Today, we have another special guest, former Dallas Cowboy, serial entrepreneur, and honestly, he's one of the most ambitious people I've ever met, especially at his age. One of one, Lewis Neal, bro. Welcome to the podcast, bro.
Appreciate it, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Nah, for sure. So, Lewis, quick backstory. Lewis, we all played together in 2018. Our first time meeting, really having a one-on-one, was on an off day. And I remember the lights were off in the gym. Usually I always go in the off day and get a workout in. But I noticed somebody was on the squat machine behind me, and I was like, dang, somebody in here getting the work in. I'm like, okay, that's what's up. And I seen it was Lewis. I was like, you know what, let me say what's up. So we started talking. Obviously talked about our journeys in the league. Yeah. But, right after that, we started talking about things off of the field. And I remember us just briefly getting into it. And you talked about how you went to LSU. And in LSU, you started a hedge fund. And I was right off top, I was like, oh, he's different. Mm-hmm. And he said, man, he was like, with this star on your helmet, he like looked me dead in the eyes, bro. Yeah. He's like, hey, with this star on your helmet, you can have access to anything. And I was like, nah, bro. He's a friend for life after that. I was like, I got to know more about this guy. I got to know what he does and how he thinks. And when I say serial entrepreneur, that's what you are. Is that not, factual? So I'll let you start about some of the businesses that you do. And
you was a rookie too, huh? Mm-hmm. During that, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And no, he was. Yeah. 2018, you were a rookie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, going into the second year, that was that.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
And just to go back on that star aspect, man, that's one of the reasons why I chose the Cowboys, because I was undrafted. So I was like, shoot, why not just go to the America's team,
That's kind of reversed. So instead of a team picking you, he was undrafted. He said, I'm going to choose a team.
That I can leverage.
Agent,
yeah, I'm going there,
So it wasn't even really about the football opportunity for you.
It was more about both, at the same time, because it was like, first off, defensive line here, I knew I could come in and, I obviously contribute. And that's what I did. And then, but at the same time, I knew that I was playing for the Dallas Cowboys. And when you go anywhere in this world, they gonna know who the Dallas Cowboys is. They not gonna know, Detroit Lions, but they gonna know the Dallas Cowboys.
Number one team in the world.
You know what I'm saying? So I thought that in my head, and I was like, I know I can leverage that, and that's where I got that statement from.
So my thing is crazy because it's very rare for somebody to come into the league thinking about leveraging the brand for business opportunities. How'd you already come into the league, and what led you to come into the league with that foundation already?
What led me was the fact that, first off, I already knew I was going to be undrafted just because of my situation. Coming out of LSU when we switched to the 3-4 scheme, my junior year, I led the team in sacks, obviously, and then I should have honestly left. And that, how it is.
That was your time. That was the window. That was your time. But you was like, I'm gonna stay one more year.
Exactly. So we switched to 3-4. So I kind of like, sacks, go down because you two gapping. So at that point, I was like, all right. So I know I'm going undrafted. So and then I already trained out here in APEC, in Fort Worth though.
Yeah.
So when I was already here,
that's crazy. That's a small world.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So literally, bro, like I was like, I'm already here. I'm comfortable, I don't feel like going nowhere else. I like it here. I already met a bunch of people because I was here. So, I was here already networking. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just stay here.
You like Dallas.
I loved it. I loved it because when you think about this area, it's a lot of opportunity for business, and their star is it's mean a lot,
Yeah.
Anybody that wear their star, they know that,
And do you know that? Maybe you don't know that, right?
True.
But you knew that. Because coming in, most people think about the opportunity to play in the league, in the NFL.
It's bigger than that. Because it's always somebody bigger than you. You know what I mean? The brand is bigger than you. It's been here forever, Yep. So you can leverage that into the corporate world. And you know, if you smart enough and you start learning that, you know, you can easily, you know, translate all of that into a business.
How'd you have that mindset even before you came into the league? Because one thing that you just said is you was networking while you was training for the combine.
Yeah.
So like, how'd you develop that mindset at such an early age?
Yeah, so in reality, when I was growing up, you know, I always wanted to make my money work for itself, but I didn't know how I was going to make that happen. So like, when I hit my wall, you know, every athlete hit that wall where they realize they got to know something outside of sports. I hit my wall in my freshman year in college because when I went to LSU, you know, I wasn't playing. You know, when you come out of high school, you're like, man, I'm playing. You know, I'm starting. But I wasn't playing. So like, you know, I was on special teams. And then they'll put me in the fourth quarter. You know how it is. The cleanup crew.
So like, it's the worst, but it's, you know, at least you're getting that work.
But that, I used to hate when they used to put me in the fourth. I'm like, man, don't put me in the game right now.
You balling out too, you know.
You celebrate.
No, for real. But that was my wall that I hit, and I was like, you know, I got to do something because if I don't make this work in the NFL, where I'm going back home, and it ain't nothing there for me.
And this is your freshman year that you
freshman year at LSU.
So I know you mentioned. So did that inspire you to start that hedge fund?
That inspired me to realize that I need to know another skill, because football is a skill at the end of the day that can just make you money. Mm-hmm. So that was when I realized I need to know another skill outside of sports, and I always wanted to make my money work for itself and be an investor, and that's what inspired me. So like after that, you know, I literally got a financial advisor at Edward Jones, and I started giving them my money every month. But then, you know,
got a financial LSU, man. That was before the NIL.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So we ain't gonna talk about what kind of money it was, but you was getting money and you got an advisor. Okay.
No, but you know, you get stipends, bro. Don't even go there.
No, for sure. You know,
I wasn't giving. It ain't like I was giving. You know, it wasn't like I was giving $100,000 every month. Now, you know, it was like a couple $100 every month. Yeah.
For sure.
So for me, you know, that was just me, because I remember. All right, go back in high school. I took a class that had me read Dave Ramsey book. You know, and that was one of the books in the traditional aspect, where if you invest into a, you know, traditional, you know, IRA or all of that stuff, you have $1 million over a certain amount of time. Yep. So I remember that, and that's when I, you know, pretty much started going to the financial advisor and just putting money in every month. But then at the end of the day, I was like, you know, I'm putting all this money in that I know I can't get it out really like that, like I want to.
Access.
And you know, I didn't like, you know, it felt like it wasn't. Like it's something like that I have to wait for. I want something now. I need something now. Yeah. So for me, it was like, all right, let me figure out what they doing. And my curiosity took me down that rabbit hole, you know, because there's always somebody on the other side making it work. You know, I mean, how else you gonna make money, right?
Right.
So that's when I started when I started realizing like, what are they doing on the backside of you know, managing my money. And you know, that's when I started looking up stocks and trading and stuff like that, and that's how I stumbled across it, bro. And
so you learned how to do that in college. This wasn't pre-college. This is in college. In college, 3-4 years, you learned how to trade, what the market is.
Yes, you can ask all my teammates at LSU if you ever get a chance to talk to like my roommates, like Kendall Beckwith, you know, some guys that was my roommates, Tre'Davious White, Ricky Jefferson, a lot of guys, you know, that's Justin Jefferson brother. They remember I used to be in class with my laptop out and my charts out, reading the markets. Literally, I like that's what I was doing in class.
Yeah. Was it a passion? Was it a passion of yours, or did you just only motivation like, yo, I want to learn how, you know, to make money with my money, you know, or did it became a passion?
Well, you know, me being an entrepreneur was a passion from the get-go, but like when I first got a taste of making some money off of my money, that was it. Even if I got lucky, you know what I'm saying? Just knowing that I did it.
It's a possibility.
Right. Because, I got lucky, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes, you know? And but that just opened my mind up to like what this could be. And that's why I took it from there, because there was a time, bro, like, kid you not, like, I turned some money into like a couple $1,000s, and I'm like, you know, and I'm talking about trading wise. And I was like, man, like, if I really learned this, You know, this could be crazy. You know, I got lucky obviously because I lost it after that. But I'm like, you can really do this if you really learn the skill.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what really took me down that rabbit hole. And I started studying, reading books. I used to not get no sleep during college. I used to pick a class to sleep in, you know, like literally, because you got football, you got to, you know.
That's funny. That's funny. You was learning so much. You was like, I'm going to pick a class that I can sleep in.
Because, you know, some class you ain't got to really, you know.
100%. 100%.
What's like the book that you read? And let me backtrack because, I mean, I read some books and I forget which one book is. It was about money, and it talks about how, like, you know, you can't beat the stock market, right?
Yeah.
Just because you got all these people on Wall Street that's literally trying to do exactly what you're doing, and how a lot of people lose money when they're trying to day trade.
Yeah.
So what's like the books that you read that, you know, that was the book that changed your mindset, you know, that brought you down that path?
Well, like, honestly speaking, I didn't read the right books in the beginning. I read books just on, like, actually how to learn, like just reading the market. So Naked Trading, that's a book, you know, where you can learn how to read charts and chart the charts and just understand technical analysis. And, you know, honestly, you know, that teaches you how to do it, but that doesn't train you mentally.
Right.
Because, yeah, I made a lot of money, but mentally I was greedy and lost a lot too, you know, so you have to know both sides. So I had to train myself mentally, and you know, and that was more so me learning myself. And you have to learn how to, you know, control your emotions and a lot of these things, because when you start, like in the beginning it was about money, but when you start really getting into it, you know, money is just a tool. You have to change your mindset on what it is, and then you will be comfortable, you know, taking your time and, you know, do all that. Instead of focus on
really
trying
building it, instead of focus on that account going up.
Yeah.
You're focused on building
Consistency, bro.
And that's and I think it comes with losing something, right? When you lose something, you start realizing, like, you really get it down to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
If you're just winning all the time, what are you learning?
Bro, I made $50K one time in college and lost it all. Like, but it was off of trades though, you know. But that was like during my learning curve, and you know, and that once I really started getting, you know, the psychological aspect down, that's when I went down the rabbit hole of hedge fund managers and stuff like that, because I was like, first off, I was on YouTube, you know, I was watching them on yachts and all type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? Just looking at the lifestyle, I'm like, man, these are some of the most wealthiest people in the world, and you don't even know who they are. You know what I mean? Like the owner of the Panthers owns a hedge fund, you know? So like, I'm like,
well, now you know who he is.
Yeah. But it's just like, you know, all they did was learn a skill and leverage other people's money. That's all they did.
Right.
You know?
And for people that's watching that don't know what, you know, a hedge fund is, if you could just explain it, you know, if you can just explain it in the simplest terms, you know, how would you explain like a hedge fund?
A hedge fund is for people, first off, that are accredited, that can take the risk. Accredited investor means, you know, you have the means to obviously risk whatever you're willing to lose, into a fund that will manage your money for a specific ROI, you know, whether it's monthly or yearly. Right. So that's the simplest terms I can put it in.
And you don't really know what, you know, if you're just a client, you don't really know how they're making return on investment, right?
Exactly.
Like,
well, you should, because they should provide you, like, you know, a PPM, you know, just knowing, or in a deck, or just knowing what's all involved and the parties involved and all the credentials, and it's the whole thing. You're supposed to know, right? You know, but that's basically what it is. But that is like, that was my journey, bro, and that inspired me to start one, and honestly, you know, that was the start of my entrepreneurship journey, and you know, at that time, you know, it was a lot. You know, I gained a little consistency, and I didn't become like super wealthy off of it.
Right.
But I mean, it started me to be able to invest into other things, because then I started a barbershop on campus, like literally down the street on campus.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I wasn't doing the hair or nothing, but like I had a salon and a barbershop. Like I used to go to the beauty schools, and like we were hiring women, you know, girls at the schools to come do hair. But it was a cash business. So like, you know, it lasted while I was in college because it's a cash business. And, you know, the compliance at LSU, they loved me because they always used to use me as an example. But that was like all during the years up until my junior year, when football really turned around for me. Because at first, you know how it is in football, you know, you got to player. You know, you got people in front of you. I had Daniil Hunter. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
I had some.
You had some dogs.
Yeah. So I had to wait my
dogs.
turn. So like, you know, but literally, if it wasn't for that wall that I had my freshman year, I wouldn't have already been prepared for them downfalls that a lot of people really get that until they get to the league, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I got that jump my freshman year in college. So that's when I really changed my mindset. And then, you know, when my junior year came around, I led the team in sacks. That was funny how that happened, but Coach O came in, you know, and it was his first year. He didn't know nothing about me. I was the first
Right.
I was the first athlete to meet him on campus. And I was like, I'm gonna be your best defensive lineman this year. I ain't had no film. I ain't even played before that. You know what I'm saying? And I led the team in
You
sacks,
just
bro.
knew it was your time.
Yeah.
No, that's the beautiful thing about experiencing it early. I mean, you was 18, wasn't playing, and so that was going to help your transition on the back end because you're building all these skills in the meantime, right?
Exactly. And that was the time to take risks, you know, because the earlier you take risks at a time like that, you know, in college you get these stipends every month.
You know something's coming back.
Yeah, you
especially the kickbacks they got at LSU.
Yeah, Pell Grant, you know what I'm saying?
He's still naming government.
That ass Pell Grant.
We got, but we get it. Yeah.
Because you know, like in college, you get that Pell Grant, everybody blowing it on clothes, shoes.
Man.
I mean, I was on the markets, you know what I'm saying?
I thought I was that Pell Grant. I thought I was rich leaving college. Boy, I had 10 grand in the bank. I was like, man, I got money. Like,
yeah, but
that Pell Grant.
If you use that Pell Grant right, hey, you
on now.
know what I'm saying? So I was one of the ones that use it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, you know, that was everybody thought I was, you know, like they were like, man, let's start. Well, let's go back on this. You know, people think like trading, like they was like, oh, the stock market, that's a scam. You know how it is? Like, but now they like, dang, I wish, you know, that's how it be. You know, because like we just not educated, especially in our community.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And like, it's just a reality.
Yeah, and that's crazy because it's crazy you said that because, you know, how I grew up, I thought the stock market wasn't for black people. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know shit about the stock market. I honestly thought that when somebody brought up the stock market, I thought that we wasn't supposed to be in that conversation, us as black people. So the fact that you said that people who you grew around thought the stock market
when
was
I was
a
in
scam,
college, bro, my teammates would tell me this, bro, literally.
It's crazy.
And they watching me doing everything I'm doing, like.
That is crazy. To me, it was like, you know, growing up as a kid, like if you in the stock market, oh, that's your job. Like you do that for a living. Not knowing that's could be a part of your portfolio, just a part of what you do, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Now look at everybody got investing.
Skill.
Everybody got something somewhere now.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
No, segueing into what you're doing now. I mean, you went from a hedge fund to reading about, you know, stocks in college to now, what, 10 years later, and you're heavy into the crypto world.
Yeah,
right?
I got into crypto. Now that's a whole other story. We could, you know, we had some conversations on that. So
Sure.
I got into crypto like around 2015, and it was funny because my friend is Hispanic. He was a trader. He was one of my friends out of California, and he literally was the one. He was like, "Bro, buy XRP." You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about this was like long time ago. Like that's literally, and then also it was another asset class. Like I knew about it, but I didn't like actually get into it. But he was like, buy XRP, and I'm a risk taker, bro. I just invested into XRP and Bitcoin, you know, like all of that.
What
like,
platforms were you on?
Coinbase. And then it was
Coinbase was back in 2015?
Well, yeah. And then it was one exchange, man, it was one of them, you know, them offshore joints that just disappeared.
Switzerland account.
Bro, you know why I'm laughing, bro. And I was laughing when he said that we got stories because, you know, how y'all met was a little bit different than how we kind of got close, right? You know, I didn't like, obviously, you know, he came in as a rookie and stuff like that. I think the first time that we actually started talking, I think we was in a locker room together, you know, after everybody left or stuff like that. And you was talking to somebody over, you know, in the far lockers. And I came over there, he was talking about a little bit about investing and stuff like that. And we went in the hot tub. He was like, bro.
Hold up, pause. In the hot,
simmer down.
In the hot tub.
Simmer down. Even though the Cowboys hot tub is just damn near as big as this room.
Okay. I mean, he brought
simmer
that
down.
Up, like,
yeah, pause. You know what I mean? Cut that. No. Anyway. But we went in the hot tub. It was a bunch of people in there. Pause. But it went in the hot tub and he was like, "Yo, it's this thing called Bitcoin." bro, you should put like $100K in it right now.
Just
I was
got right
like,
to
bro,
it.
what? It was like at, what was it, like at 3,000 or
Yeah,
something
it was
like
low
that?
as crap, bro.
It was
yeah.
so low.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, what are you talking about? He was like, bro, I'm telling you, bro, just watch. Just watch.
This is the first conversation. He just came up to you and was like trying to put people on.
He's like, bro, just watch. Just watch,
Listen,
bro.
You don't know who I am. Put $100K in.
And I was like,
yeah.
And then I thought about it. Nah. And then it got up to 12. I was like, okay, shoot. And I put some bread in. Then it dropped back down to 6 and I pulled it all out. But like, you know, that's the craziest thing about him because he knew that shit was gonna take off.
Yeah.
At a very, very early stage of crypto. You know what I mean?
I got in crypto at $200. I got in Bitcoin at $200. And then I got in SRP at like a penny, you know.
And you still have those to this day.
Well, I made my mistakes. It's like everybody do, but I made a ton of money, you know, and it was a blessing, you know, to do that because obviously that also helped me do other things like I've been talking about.
Right.
But, you know, I still do own stuff today, but I could have owned a ton, like a, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I mean,
like,
but
I have
everybody went
friends
through
that had like 500 Bitcoins, like, you know, it's just ridiculous.
That's
but
insane.
like, you know, a lot of it got hacked because during those times, it was loose. It wasn't as secure. Like also when I first got it, not when you got it, it was kind of good. It was good then. But when I got into it, it was, you know, it was loose.
How do you even cash in something like 500 Bitcoins? What is the
I
process?
mean, you
for
don't
that?
need to really.
Yeah. Right.
That's the point.
But how would you? How does it even work? Like, I mean, can Coinbase do a transaction like that?
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now,
Coinbase is a bank, you know, essentially.
Right.
Coinbase is just a bank, and that's all. They're a fiat to crypto bank, pretty much. You know, and
So-
crypto to fiat.
No, and I'm still understanding it, which I do, but I've just heard a lot of stories about, you know, when the market dipped down.
Yeah.
I know we talked about it. You said it's leveling out now, but when it did dip down, they weren't letting people withdraw because it was like, yo, we need to, you know, we're gonna go bankrupt as a company, right?
Yeah.
And so, how do you read charts? I mean, you ain't got to break it down, but how do you know that this is the bottom for crypto and people, you know, don't need to?
Well, see, crypto has cycles. You have to study the historical, you know, past to kind of predict the future. So like every 4 years, Bitcoin has a halving. And if you study the months of Bitcoin, it always do a certain thing at specific seasons and specific months of the year. So like every 4 years, so the next bull run will be 2024, but it's going to consolidate until 2024. And then 2024, you might see it go to 100K, you know, or whatever the case may be. But every 4 years, you know, that's why that was around 2017 when I told him that was the last 4 years.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So every 4 years, it has this cycle of waves like this, you know, and eventually it's going to become like a index, like a S&P 500, where it just makes small returns, you know.
Is that because of does it fluctuate so much because of just human tendencies?
Supply and demand.
Or human emotions? You know what I'm saying? Like based off of where the market is at the time, is that kind of how you read it as well too? Like,
well, supply
does
and demand.
does Bitcoin have anything to do, or does the fluctuation have anything to do with the current economy that we're in now?
It can, but at the same time, it goes hand in hand with the US dollar because Bitcoin is against that, right? So the more we continue to have inflation, the better for Bitcoin.
And I know we're talking about a lot about Bitcoin, but there's so many coins. What are stable coins? Bitcoin, Ethereum. I mean, what are the stable?
Bitcoin is, you know, I like to is a store of value. I like to say that because it's essentially, you know, the grandfather, you know, of cryptocurrency. I don't even like to call Bitcoin crypto, but at the same time, you know, other technologies have came about, which is good for the industry because, you know, Bitcoin has specific technology, but there's also other, you know, cryptocurrencies that solve problems. You know, it's all about problem solving. If something doesn't solve a problem, don't mess with it, right? But if something can solve a real life problem, you know, that's a great investment, you know. And that's just my personal opinion. But as far as, you know, Bitcoin goes, it has these cycles and it's about supply and demand, you know, in reality, but it goes by the cycles, bro, and it's been like that ever since because it halves. Every halving is when, you know, the rewards gets cut in half. Okay. So that means it's making it harder to mine. So every 4 years it gets harder and harder to mine, which drives the value of, you know, the demand. You know, and the more people continue to purchase Bitcoin, the more the demand goes up and the more the price goes up. So, you know.
So I know we bouncing around a little bit.
Yeah.
But I do want to go back to your hedge fund and have you kind of explain it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like we kind of skipped over that. I do want you to shed light, you know, kind of what you're doing now with your hedge fund.
Yeah.
I know you said y'all about to possibly open it up to the public soon. Can you kind of explain what sets your hedge fund apart from other hedge funds?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, so first off, you know, we kind of, you know, first off, it's conservative, highly conservative. My partners are in Australia. We have an entity in Delaware, in Connecticut is our office, and we're licensed with the CFTC, registered, you know, with the CFTC and the NFA. And we have license at ASIC, which is the Australian Securities Commission. But my partners, they are at Goldman Sachs, at Citibank, and so forth. And pretty much I would like to say we're in the top 1% of returns in 2022, where we was. You know, it's been operating for about 2.5 years. So, you know, we'll open it up to like semi-retail soon. And what sets us apart, I mean, everything is about performance, you know. Just the performance is very conservative, but still, you know, good enough to where somebody is happy, you know.
Well, I had a couple questions off that. You know, number one, how did you form your team? I mean, you're talking about Australia, and then you chose Delaware, and you got Goldman Sachs partners, right? That's number one. And then number two,
you got a private jet. That's why.
And number two, I mean, in 2.5 years to be in the top 1%.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
What's your annual, you know, percentage on return on investment to be in the top 1%?
We've been averaging 19% a year.
19%.
You know, but obviously we don't give that. We just give a fixed return and make the rest. That makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
What's the ultimate end goal? Like, what's the ultimate end goal for that? Yeah.
For that, the ultimate end goal is to buy ownership in a team. Also, you know, start a bank.
That's what's up.
To be honest, you know, because that's the only next step is a private bank. The majority of the biggest hedge funds, they own a private bank because you have so much capital in the management. You kind of have to.
Right. Right.
So,
no, I mean, is that the typical? I'm not gonna say typical because nothing's typical about it.
But
for someone coming from, you know, essentially nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're talking about buying a team, you know, you think of like Jay-Z.
Well, I don't really want to buy when you buy, like, to be honest, like, I want to just buy 1% of like the team here, Texas Legends, and then that'll open doors for the other ones.
For sure.
And then be just a sponsor, get a suite, you know, all of these things in the company, so that way, you know, investors and stuff like that come and all of that from across the world. But you know, my ultimate goal is to buy an international soccer team.
That's what's
not a football.
The real football, huh? According to the world.
Well, it's just the market is. I look at the market, right?
Mm-hmm.
Football is kind of like we at the top in basketball and football, but soccer is a low hanging fruit that's growing. So when you look at return on your money, you know, it's best to buy a soccer team.
Yeah. No, that's just talking about how you formed your team and how you're going that route. But you know, you talk about, you know, groups like Jay-Z's group and Russell Wilson's group and how they're finally buying into, you know, big NFL teams, whether you know, LeBron was in a group that bought Liverpool, right?
Exactly.
Is this how it starts with
investment, though?
Yeah, you find the right people, you form a group, and then that's how you kind of level up and build. Yeah,
that's what I did, because my friend is a big time soccer agent. His name is Seth. He lives in Dubai, and he manages a lot of players from, you know, Manchester, Real Madrid. So he, like, when it comes to, because soccer is about trading, it's a different like business model than football, like with the draft and NBA with the draft. Yeah. It's about trades in soccer. Like, you can go get a kid out the slums, you know, give him a better life, and he gonna be worth $5-10 million, and you ain't even gotta put much up.
And you trade him.
You can put $50K up and develop him. He's worth now $10 million. Right. You sell him to Manchester or Real Madrid for $10 million. Look at your return.
That sounds wild. But hold on, we don't just all have friends in Dubai. He snuck that in there. Like, my friend in Dubai. We got to talk about this. Yeah. So I know we talked about the hedge fund, but we got to talk about what you're doing in the crypto world with the Cryptic wallet.
Okay, yeah. So Cryptic is I like to say it's a next generation of MetaMask, because I never will, talk bad about what started it, because MetaMask was the first, but there's going to always be something that comes out that obviously, is better. So pretty much that's what we are, is a next generation of MetaMask, which if you know what MetaMask is a decentralization wallet, a DeFi wallet. So we basically are a Web3 wallet where we open, the world to Web3. We want to be the bridge to blockchain. So when you think about blockchain, I want you to think about cryptic, and that's pretty much what cryptic is. But I've been in Dubai, speaking at a lot of different blockchain, conferences and stuff like that, and it's going to continue to go, just getting exposure. And plus, it's rare that you see an athlete, with my skin color, speaking at these conferences and have a product in this business, because to be honest, it's very how can I say this? What's the correct word for
rare?
Yeah.
Very rare. I mean,
well, I'm just saying, it's not a lot of people that you're gonna be on stage that's really doing it and looking like me,
That's living it.
So what's your mindset going into it? You know what I'm saying? Because I always say, sometimes, I be telling people stories, like when I'm sitting first class on a flight, how people be looking at me. Shit, I'll be, it kind of make me feel good that they don't expect me with dreads, tattoos, to be sitting in that seat, right? To be sitting in the first seat that they walk in.
Yeah.
There's multiple other situations.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
If I'm in a business meeting, and they ask me to go over my numbers, they don't really expect me to be able to articulate, and it's kind of disrespectful, So you don't expect me to be able to articulate my business, right?
Right.
So, but I'm saying, what's the mindset going into it, knowing that, you don't look like everybody else, you grew up differently than everybody else. What's the mindset for you to go into that situation? Do you have to equip yourself a certain way?
To be honest, just from playing sports, just like when you step on the field, you're confident, bro.
Yeah.
I work hard, so I know when I step out there, when I open my mouth, everybody gonna listen. Right. So I have that mindset to where when I start speaking, I know they're gonna listen, 100%. And it happens every time.
How did you meet your friend in Dubai to start marketing this product in Dubai? I mean, that's the capital of the world, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, they do wild things over there, building all kind of cities. And it's Lewis Neal, former D lineman from LSU.
You know what's
Cowboys.
funny, bro? I went to Dubai when I was at the Cowboys. I went out there to train, bro, and because my friend he owned a gym, it's a private gym. He just sold it though, but
damn,
it's
you
funny.
should have hit me up. You had a gym in Dubai.
Hey, bro.
APEC Dubai.
No, for real though. All the UFC soccer players, he had them all at his gym. Because out there is big in UFC. I was the only football player out there, really. So I was doing a lot of endurance work because I'm with UFC fighters and soccer players. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
Yeah. So I mean, I could. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I had literally we met to be honest we met on the line, bro, and because I was already going to Dubai and he was an agent. Because you know how agents are, you know what I'm saying? But we met years back, and it was online just because, I was coming out, I was out of college, he was an agent,
Yeah.
He just didn't have no
naturally, football. It was kind of a natural relationship that just went to the next level.
Because he was an agent, so I mean, agents want you, as an athlete, but for him, it was more so just get to know each other type of situation. He an agent, you know what I'm saying?
For
but
sure.
It was more so let's connect and see. And then he saw what, and then obviously, after we started talking, then I finally went to Dubai, and that's when it took off from there.
So explain, because we always talking about how business is literally all about relationships.
Yeah. Explain
the tree, or how many different relationships that you got simply from that one relationship right there. Explain how much it expanded off of that.
Man, it's crazy because his friend was he owned a tech fund. He owns the largest tech fund in the Middle East. And his name is Kyle. And his friend manages a lot of the Prince's money out there. And, they invest into tech companies here. So just off of that, I got that relationship. And then at his gym was one of those gyms where it's private. He had the Kardashian, he has
top tier,
because he owned One Oak too, One Oak Club, and
he owns One Oak.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
he partner in it.
Like in Vegas.
No,
LA?
Dubai.
Oh, in Dubai. Okay.
Yeah, because it's a brand. You know what I'm saying? So he got like they be booking a lot of rappers. That's the place where all the rappers and stuff be going.
That's where they go. They perform at One Oak.
They go to One Oak. It's another place. I can't remember the other club that they go perform at, but that's one of the places. So like he be with 50 Cent, he be with everybody. Like my guy Self be with everybody.
So One Oak a franchise?
It
has to be because they're all different, and then you got LA, Vegas. It has to be a franchise.
They're trying to make it One Oak Dallas.
Look his mind just sparked. He heard Dubai, One Oak.
But for real, bro, he opened a lot of doors for me, bro. And another place like Dubai is one of them places where it's different type of capital. Like if you into like raising capital for your business, stuff like that, Dubai is like you will get it faster than here.
Was there any
point blank?
Was there any communication barrier?
Nah. They all speak English.
Oh, man.
Yeah. That's when you go to South America.
Man, listen. He said that's when you go to South America. Like, when you go to South America,
you got to speak Spanish.
Listen. So segueing, so you marketed the Cryptic wallet.
Yeah.
I mean, this man's on Instagram driving the Ferraris, and he's really doing this. It ain't for show. He's really doing this, right? But he brings up South America because that's another business you're into, right?
Yeah.
So what do you invest in? What do you do in South America?
So I build homes right now, affordable homes, and it's been doing well, bro. I mean, just like you would do here, right? The only difference was like that was my start into real estate too. I just kept doing it because to be honest, like it was a lot less expensive to start out. So I said, let me see how it go, because I had a great relationship. The lady,
let me see how it goes. Yeah. No, so you had a relationship. Yeah, we got to talk about how you got down there.
I had a relationship.
How did you get down here in South America? Like he was researching
My friend lives in South America, bro. He from here. And,
how you meeting your friends? Well, we're gonna pause right now. We're gonna pause right now. How did you meet this friend?
So my friend Nemo, he's black. He's from DC, and he lives in South America. He just moved, and he's been living there for years. And and
he trades though.
He used to trade,
so he can work anywhere, and that's why he kind of chose. Okay,
that's correct. And that's my partner in the other stuff. But pretty much, that's pretty much how I got my relationships with everybody in Colombia, because he had a travel guide out there, and they take care of me. When you go to, you gotta have people. You can't just go to Colombia, you gonna get robbed. Like, but pretty much. But I had a travel guide and very entrepreneurial spirit lady, and I just take care of me. So at that point, I was like, okay, let me see what the real estate looking like out here. Because just knowing the prices, bro, you can build a house for like $50K and sell it for $100.
So did you start like residential or like?
Residential.
What kind of buildings did you build? What kind of homes did you build?
I just built a regular, home, like a 3-bedroom, So it wasn't nothing like a mansion or nothing like that, but I started out, small, like small.
Did you build it and sell it, or did you build it and rent it, or what?
Sell it.
You just sold it?
Flipping, yeah.
Flipping it.
Just building cash flow up, so you can build that pot up and then do other stuff, rent and stuff like that. Because I focus on doing I try to do 50-50, like 50 rent, 50% portfolio rent, and then 50% of the portfolio flipping. That way I can keep the big money coming in while I, stack the assets and have cash flow. But out there, it's just, I just like it, bro. I mean, and it's fast. Like the people out there, everything out there is different because they don't go off of credit. You know what I mean? So when people buy a house, it's cash. So it ain't no system to where they go get a loan or none of this. So they if a buyer buys the house or is interested, they giving you the money. It's no process,
Yeah.
So it's a lot simpler, if that makes sense.
So when you decided to build this home at this lot, did you have to go get your own crew, or how did that?
Okay. Yeah. So all right, we're going there. So her friend, the lady that I connected with, her friend was the builder. They have a construction company, and she owns half of the city. So I said, let's own the other half.
All right, she owns half of the city, period. On to the next. But she had all the connects. I mean,
owns
everything
half of the
about
city,
it.
bro.
Mm-hmm.
So from this relationship now, when you fast forward to now, how many houses did this turn into?
it's turning to like 5, you know, and I try to, you know, it's that real estate slow, you know.
Right,
They take
100%.
time to build, you know, and then they already be sold. Like, you know, the ones that I'm building now are already like sold, but you know, the house ain't finished.
Right.
So it just takes time. So it's like I could probably do like 5 twice a year. So like it take like 6 months.
And you do only flips in South America.
That's correct. Now I'm going to get into this upcoming year. I'm going to get into like commercial shops. Okay, so where you ever been to like you've been to South America before, right? What parts is?
No, Mexico. That's it. I ain't.
Have
really
you ever
South
went
America.
to like not the resort side though?
Nah.
Oh, Mexico.
Just like ever went to somewhere that's not a resort? Like,
Mexico ain't
going to the.
Yeah.
Okay, you ever seen like the buildings that be on the side of the road? They don't be big. Have you ever seen that? What part of Mexico you went to?
I went to a city that was really close, like 45 minutes away from. I can't remember the name, but 45 minutes away from Mexico City.
Okay.
And we went down there. It was me and some other Cowboy players went down there for a football camp at one time.
Okay. So pretty much like the way they do stuff out there is they have, these buildings and they be stacked side by side. And, no air conditioning, none of that. But people like families will be, selling their goods and services or like have a barber shop or it be, they rent out those spaces, just like you would do here, you get a lease.
Okay. So small businesses, these are just
correct. But the thing about South America is they don't believe in air conditioning. So like it saves a lot of money on costs. So like you can just put the building up and start making money.
That's crazy.
Wow. No maintenance. No, wow.
It's a different world, bro. And it's not like you're gonna make a lot of money. It's about volume. Like you can get 20 spots, 2-story, you can get 10 stores here and then make it 2 stories. That's 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that can probably run you for like the land will probably be like $80K. And then you will probably it'll probably take like 120-ish to build. And then you can rent it out with like $400 to $500 a month for each one. So you make it like, you make 20 times 500.
Yeah.
So you can make your money back. And the land is the only expensive thing. So you make the cost of the build back, like, probably in a year.
Your return on investment is going to be great.
Yes, because those people rely on those businesses. It's not like here, like, people lazy. Like them people in South America, bro, they gotta hustle.
Do it.
They gotta hustle because their economy is, if they don't, they starving. So like they, we basically are helping, them.
You're helping the economy.
Exactly.
So you have a project going right now down there for that.
Yeah,
That's
2
exciting.
homes right now, 2.
That's exciting. So you have, you had your hedge fund.
Yep.
You have the cryptic wallet.
Yeah.
You have real estate in South America.
Yeah.
And then here in the States,
truck land.
You have a trucking business. So let's.
Do you still have? And I'm sorry to
no, you're fine
to chime in, but do you still have the airport?
So no.
Okay, yeah, because that's
a
whole.
Hold on, we was about to forget
that's
a business.
That's a harder. Like we got a charter. It's in Dominican Republic, but like it just costs so much to get a like it costs a lot, bro. So like if you don't gain the investors, it's difficult, man. So like we kind of like trying to wait for like to see how the government can provide and help stuff like that.
I knew you was different though when you told me that you was working on the airport.
Yeah, I
was like, yo, this dude's super plugged in.
Yeah.
He was literally working on buying an airport. I was like, yo, that shit's crazy.
We have our license to fly, like as far as aircraft, but like where the cost is, it's just we talking about $100 million like plane. Like if you don't get no investors, you ain't really gonna take it off really like that. So it's still like small, like it's not really like.
But it's still under construction. It's not out yet.
Exactly,
it's not out.
Exactly. But as far as here, and it's funny to say that, bro. Like I hired people in South America to, manage my trucking company.
Man.
Explain that though. Because
and so you're helping your economy out, you're giving people jobs. I mean, to manage your...
Well, but explain the trucking side of it because I feel like...
A lot of people...
Me, I got scammed on some trucks here in the States,
it happens.
Right? Of a company that...
they promised the world, bro.
Yeah, they promised the world, they portrayed, and that they was going to do all these crazy things and you was going to get this amount of return.
Nope.
You buy these many trucks.
Nope.
And, I didn't even go through with it, but I lost $20,000-$30,000, just by signing up and saying that I was gonna do it, right? But when I found out it was a scam, I got some of my money back, but I lost about half of what I put in.
Yeah. And what year was this?
This was like a couple of years ago.
That makes sense.
Maybe a year. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep. So explain the trucking industry though. Like, I feel like so many, especially NFL players, is trying to get into it. We see it as the easy way to transition. And I know we're gonna talk about transition.
Yeah.
Here next, but explain a little bit more about the trucking industry and how you was able to maneuver your way through it.
So how I maneuver my way was, rare, to be honest. I actually started out managing other trucks. Me and my partner, Warren, we started out managing other trucks. We started our company with $100, bro.
And that's what you told me. And that's what I'm saying. Like,
We just got the corporation. That was it.
That's insane. All his
Because we
businesses.
managed other trucks. So we had the knowledge to know how to get the freight for people. If you ain't got no freight, you ain't making no money.
How much would you say this company is worth now?
We gross over like $2 million right now.
Bro,
So you start.
How many X is that?
$100 started it. That's why I said this is something that's based here in the States. A lot of people have started it. We need you to walk through this.
$2 billion X or something.
That's ridiculous.
It's just getting started.
And it's 2.5 years old.
Yeah.
Only 2.5 years old.
2 years.
Less than 2.5. It's 24 months old.
Well, put it this way. Like the corporation, started, more than 2 years.
Okay.
But operating 2 years.
2 years.
So explain this a little bit. Like, I know you got competitors out here. I know you don't, there's some stuff that you got to keep secret probably.
Nah.
But, explain, put people on game a little bit about, the trucking industry.
Trucking, bro. First off, it's funny that you said like a couple of years ago and a year ago, because when COVID happened, that's when everybody started trying to get in trucking.
Yep.
And that's when all the scams was happening, because people was like, they were doing trucking, they were selling courses, and you see all this stuff online talking about, trucking automation. I'm like, bro, ain't nothing automated about trucking. But yeah, bro. But like, just everybody and their mama was trying to get in trucking, because obviously the rates was good. And now everybody's struggling because they ain't got no contracts.
Right.
And trucking is about numbers. If you're not hitting your numbers, you're losing money. And a lot of people, they don't tell you like, yeah, you're gonna go buy a truck, but what does the freight look like? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the gross? They like, what's the net? They always telling you what the gross is. We'll make $10,000, a week.
They don't talk about the maintenance and
they don't talk about the
paying
breakdowns.
the drivers. Yeah.
Bro, you gonna break down.
Yeah.
Right.
It's gonna happen.
Yep.
But they ain't talking about it. They just painting the good old picture. You know what I mean?
Right.
But trucking costs a lot of money. Trucking is one of those industries where if you don't have money, don't get in. Like, I was lucky, because I managed other trucks before we even decided to get trucks.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
so you started with $100.
Yes, sir.
And you started managing trucks. How did you build those connects to have people have to go through you for business, for contracts?
My partner, he had friends that, had trucks, and we was like, we can manage them for you. And that's just how it started. And then once we started managing trucks, like we had so in the beginning, we had a lot of fallouts with a lot of people. In the beginning of your business, you're trying to find the right people to work with.
Right.
So we had a lot of fallouts with a lot of people because they just didn't have the same mindset and hustle as us. So we was like, man, we got to just do this on our own. We can't rely on nobody else no more. And we just started managing, a couple of friends' trucks, and they was making money. And these people just go buy more trucks because they're making money.
Right.
And that's how it really started.
How did you even build the relationships to get those contracts? Were you just calling around?
Well, we started out because this was, during that good time, right? We started out on the load board, So the load board is DAT load board. You go up there, you can find freight. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But now when you find this freight, you got to work those relationships and phones, because when you going to pick up a load, you can be like, hey, do you have anything else that be coming out here? So you got to start, talking,
right?
Because they ain't gonna tell you,
right?
But you have to start picking those relationships when you calling customers, And we had a great opportunity because in Chattanooga we had a customer that hauled steel, and pretty much, they was my partner's friend, and it's a $1 billion company, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just one of those. It's called Lock Joint, Tennessee. It's in Tennessee. They got a bunch of facilities all across. They got some in Texas too, but like we was hauling steel for them, and that was like our start, you know. And but once we started realizing, you know, after we started managing trucks, you know, it came to a point to be like, you know, we can't really control the situation because they ain't our trucks. So it was like, that's when we started getting trucks. But we made money to be able to do that, you know?
Right.
So you made money from managing trucks, and then you were like, now we got enough capital to start our own trucking business.
To get trucks, because we already had the trucking business, you know?
Right, to get your own trucks. And now you don't have to rely on other.
Yeah, because when you manage other trucks, you got to rely on them. They ain't, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it can mess up relationships, you know what I'm saying? So like, we just got our own trucks. And then from there, bro, trucking is a numbers game. Once you hit your numbers, you just multiply and duplicate. You know, and that's when we started growing and now we're getting contracts left and right, you know, but it's a numbers game. A lot of people make a lot of promises. You know, you got insurance, you got diesel, you got maintenance, you know what I'm saying? Like we just got hit with a $10,000 maintenance, you know, something we got to fix last week. You know, it happens when you spend it to put it back on the road to make it back. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it works.
No, go ahead. Okay.
So how many trucks you got now?
14.
14 trucks.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we're trying to get up to like 50. You know, so.
How do you go about finding your drivers?
Oh, I'm a guru at that one. That's one secret I can't tell you.
Yeah.
But I literally if we got a truck, I feel it same day. Like,
who's your biggest like customer that you drive for, or can you not really mention?
Nah, I can't imagine.
100%.
Yeah.
I respect.
But it's out of
100% respect it though. Like
yes,
man. I mean, like, bro, you put us on.
We specialize on flatbed though. So flatbed.
I was gonna ask.
And DOD freight. Okay.
Okay.
So flatbed, DOD. Okay.
Why do you pick? Is the
flatbed? Why do I pick flatbed? And that's another. I'm glad you asked that because probably I don't know what the other people was doing, but flatbed has been the only thing that's made money. So if anybody talking about they doing trucking, they got drive-ins, they making this, bro. No, they not. Because you can go right up there and see the rates, bro. Like, if you don't have a contract, you're not making no money. Like, it's facts. If you do not have a contract, you're losing. Well, like, it's facts.
When you said steel, gotta have a flatbed, right?
Flatbed, yep. And the thing about flatbed is what people don't want to do. So it's always work.
Right.
So flatbed pays because you have to put in work. You can't just go drive and back up. The driver got a strap, tarp, all of that. It's real work involved. So we do the hard stuff, and we make money because it's what nobody else wants to do. Everything else is just, you know, pulling up, backing up, and that's it. And everybody doing that. It's saturated. So like, you know, if you ain't got no contract, you're not making money. So anybody that's saying they doing XYZ, I know what the rates look like. They can't fool us, you know. But they can fool somebody that don't know the industry. You know what I'm saying? You will get in thinking like, you know, we're about to make some money. Like, you about to spend some money.
Yeah. No, what? So that's how. So what is it getting into, like the box truck business versus the flatbed business? Is it the same type of cost? Is it just more labor?
It's the same. It's just you got to do more volume in the box truck. OTR, you can do less volume and make more, you know, money. But like, it's still gonna boil down to contracts at the end of the day. You know, you know, at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, it boils down to that, and that's our relationship.
Man, so
people gotta trust you too, bro. Because if you don't get their freight there, that's a $1 billion company, bro. You know, so that's gonna make them look bad. Yeah, they gotta trust you. You know,
and I feel like that's what it is in every business. Well, you know, once you get going and once you build your reputation and once you establish the quality of your service or your business, it's just a never-ending growth to your business. You know what I'm saying? You provide a certain service. You know, APEC is just, you know, what you talking about, open up another gym now because people love your service, you know? And so that's
it's one of them things, bro. And, but it's rare to like we had to really hustle, bro. Started like the way we started it, you know, is rare. Like we didn't really start it with a lot of money. You know, everybody see the now. But like, nah, bro, we hustled that joint.
Right. Y'all truly built that from the ground up. And I'm not saying anybody can do it, But anybody could have started with $100, but it takes a real hustle, a real grit, a real process of wanting to learn.
It's gonna be times where, like, man, you 24 hours from going out of business,
right,
and you got to figure it out.
That's inspiring. That gets me going.
Like if I don't get it today, it's over.
Hey, you 24 hours from going out of business. Let's get to it. But I mean, we've covered all your businesses, correct?
Yeah,
I mean, we've covered for the most part. But we've covered, crypto, hedge fund, real estate.
The only thing we
trucking.
didn't cover was Web3, and
I want you to touch on that. I mean, and then we'll talk about how you balance all this because this is insane. But we didn't get a chance. We talked about the cryptic wallet, but we didn't talk about Web3 and how that really is. People don't want to talk about it now because the market's down.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what it's really going to take, where it's going to take our society. Where are we going?
Yeah. So like Web3 shouldn't even be correlated with the markets in the first place. Like that's my first thing that I'm gonna say when it comes to people like getting into this space because it's technology. It's you can make money, but at the end of the day, it's about the technology. Web3 is this decentralization of the internet. It gives the users back control. You had Web 1. What was Web 1? What you think?
The Web 1 was when we had that big block computer.
There you go.
We had floppy disks.
Like you got a MSN days, email. You know what I'm saying? We finally know how to email. Then you got Web 2. What's
Dial
that?
up or whatever.
Dial up. Yeah, exactly.
That's what for real. That's what it is. That was Web 2 though.
Web 2 is social media, I feel like.
Exactly. So like now it's Web 3, which is the decentralization of the internet and giving users back control of their data, because the big corporations own your data. You don't have no control over that. So like Web3 gives you back that control and gives them less control. And now you are in control of everything that you own, from your personal brand likeness or anything, especially for athletes, can get into Web3 and cut out the middleman. You don't need a middleman when you get into Web3.
Is it possible to cut out the middleman? Because we're talking big
It's possible.
Governments, groups. Is it possible to cut out the middleman? Can we
It's
do
not.
it?
It's gonna take time, bro. It's not an overnight thing. Just like with anything, right? RSA is an encryption, but it took them 10 years for it to be implemented into all the banks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's stuff like technology. Mm-hmm. It takes time, but the internet is gonna always evolve. Every decade. So it's never gonna stay where it's at. It's gonna always evolve. So like Web3 is just the next thing for the internet. Technically speaking, like eventually, every company, if you're not going that route, you're gonna get left behind. It's just the reality because gaming is gonna be big in Web3. When you're playing a game, who makes all the money? The game. But in Web3, the user will start generating all the income because now think about it like this: Grand Theft Auto, for an example. Everybody here played it, right?
Everybody.
Yeah.
So. Imagine playing Grand Theft Auto.
Be shooting up everybody.
Hey, he was telling me like 2 years ago. He's like, man, I was sitting. We just playing the game. I play Call of Duty. This man was like, yeah, man, I'm about to open another business on Grand Theft Auto. And then he was doing it in real life, bro. And I was like, talking about this man's learning how to run businesses through a video game.
Open up the club in Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, my club was popping. Popularity was always 5 stars.
But that's what I'm saying. Like Web3 would give you all that control though, because who makes all that money off of that game? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Rockstar. But if it turns into Web3, say you are in Grand Theft Auto, right? You can actually own that hotel in Grand Theft Auto.
Do you think
people that play Grand Theft Auto that that join the game and they go use your hotel, that can turn into real money for you because you own that property in Grand Theft Auto.
Do you think GTA 6 is going to incorporate payment, like real payments through the game? I mean, I've just kind of heard through the grapevine, but that could be the start.
They probably have to, right? I mean, based on what you're saying.
Yeah.
They have a casino in the game. I mean, could you wager,
it's 0.2
Bitcoins?
It's going to happen over time,
gonna happen.
Because if they don't do it, somebody else will. That's just always, just like with Blockbuster, what did Netflix do, So it's going to always be, if they don't do it, somebody else
It's
will.
inevitable, huh?
Exactly.
It's going to happen.
That's like what I see. But the thing about Web3 that people don't realize, like, when they hear Web3 and they hear NFTs, they see a monkey picture. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the reality.
That's all I thought.
I mean, FTX. I mean, you got Tom Brady on commercials marketing this thing.
Yeah, bro, and don't know a clue about it. You know what I'm
saying? Don't know a clue about it.
We got to come back to FTX.
Well, I mean, we can talk about it because.
But like Finish up the Web3
bro.
segment because we gotta come back to the FTX.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a whole another story. But like,
it is another story.
Yeah,
no, it is another story.
But Web3, bro, you know, you gotta just understand for what it is, not for what you see the hype to be. Because the hype is just the hype. Like that's just the online you know, things that, and then everybody chase it because that's what everybody talking about.
Right.
But like it's really about the technology, bro. Like your lease can be an NFT. You know, an NFT shouldn't be hype. It should be just.
And what's
like
it stand for? What's an NFT?
Non-fungible token. It should be just like a PDF. You know what I'm saying? That's how hype it. I'm just
there
saying.
It is.
That's how hype it should be.
I like that.
You know what I mean? Like
the correlation.
Yeah. A digital asset. That's like all it is. It's nothing more than a form of, you know, a digital asset to where it's just like a PDF. That's the simplest. Like somebody that don't understand Web3, that's the only comparison that I could put it to where they can kind of like, oh, that's what it is.
Okay,
you know?
So how are you involved in Web3? Web3. And
so so through the cryptic wallet. So I'm trying to be pretty much the gateway to Web3 because in Web3 you have to have the gateway to it. You can't just hop in, you know, Web3. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You gotta have a wallet to connect if you're gonna do any type of transactions, you know, within Web3. So we basically are the doorway to Web3 to where you can make transactions happen. You can, you know, connect to, you know, a certain platform because my vision for Web3 is implementing Web3 into everything we use today, you know, without you knowing it. You know, like for example, like I gave earlier, like an NFT can be a lease. You know, you didn't know your lease was an NFT, but it can be. You know what I'm saying? So like stuff like that. Like
how does that work? How can a lease be NFT?
Because like what is it like? Go back to what I said.
You said it's like a PDF. So it's like,
but you can track it now on the blockchain. You know,
okay.
and that's the thing. Like you're implementing the blockchain into everyday use. That's the whole key because it's more transparent. Just like with the financial institutions, you want to have the blockchain involved. Why? Because it's more transparent. Nobody can do any internal bad actors, or just like with the elections, ain't no more controversy on no elections or anything. Blockchain solves all of that. You know, you can't
fool the blockchain.
Exactly.
You can't fool
all the transactions.
I've seen in Florida they actually have some real estate transactions buying a house through the blockchain because you can't fool the blockchain. No. But what makes you different? What makes cryptic wallet? Can MetaMask not do that?
Well, see, this is the problem in the industry when it comes to that space. Mm-hmm. So there's always the one wallet that only specifies in one thing. MetaMask only specifies on what blockchain? Ethereum.
It is an Ethereum. Yeah.
So there's never a one wallet solution. That's us because you don't need us for just Ethereum. You can use anything and also a non-EVM chain. That's any blockchain that's not a fork of Ethereum. Okay. So pretty much, you know, we look at what we have as a one wallet solution. So this way you don't have to go download 10 different apps in your phone, you know, and go from this one to that one. It's pointless, you know. Right. You can have it all in one place, but they're so how can I say maximalist to what they want to be, you know, and they're not looking at the bigger picture. They're looking at like, we believe in Ethereum and that's it.
They're gonna go right.
Just like people that just believe in Bitcoin and that's it. They don't believe in nothing else. Right. So, you know, but I think that's hindering them, you know, because there's always gonna be something else that's better, you know, at the end of the day. So that's the difference, bro.
No, and when we start incorporating this in the real world, when you have a wallet that can just easily, I mean, it's almost.
Just imagine this, bro. Amazon. You know how like you go on Amazon to purchase something? When you go on your Amazon account, it can save your data, like your debit card information, and now you don't have to input it no more. Wow. So I envision Web3, especially with Cryptic Wallet, where we can create a DApp with a decentralized application, okay, on Amazon to where you can now use a DeFi wallet to purchase any good on Amazon. So you do not have to input any information. It's going to save it just like, you know, you do your debit card information. So like say for instance, you know how you connect to OpenSea?
Yep.
You can connect to Amazon and purchase anything off of Amazon. That's my visualization of implementing Web3 into everyday use. Now people do not have to put money in the bank. They can keep it in their decentralized wallet and purchase anything they want to, you know.
And you're a platform that does it all. That's the base.
Exactly.
And it's based on real technology, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, segueing, you know.
That's another thing, bro. I'm glad you said real technology because a lot of us, like athletes or people in general, bro, like they look at the space like what crypto should I buy? You know, what
Right, and
what
that's
NFT
not
should I buy?
that's a token, and it's not based on like you're in the foundation of it, and that's why I was gonna segue into like FTX, which is a trading platform, right? What did you think about what happened when you got guys like Tom Brady marketing this? What really happened? Did they just believe in one person, one guy, like they would?
Scammer.
They believed in them, bro.
Sam,
And, like, to be honest, it hurts me a lot because with what I'm doing, I know for a fact, you know, if I go, it'll be a whole different story. So like, it kind of hurts me because you know how it is. Like, it was so easy for him to get all these millions and scam people, but when you have something legit, you know,
it messes. That's what I was. That's why I was saying. Like you're marketing something that's real. He was marketing something that, I mean, it was real, but it's different, right?
It's different. It's centralized.
It's way different.
It's centralized, bro. When you look at when you look at Bitcoin, when you look at crypto in general, what's the main purpose? What was the beginning main purpose? Decentralization.
Yeah, you can't control.
So why are we going backwards to centralized platforms?
So touch on what he was doing, because you know, I don't know that it's 100% clear what he was doing to the normal person out here in the United States.
Yeah.
So touch on exactly what he was doing and why it was such a big scam.
So, well, he thought what he was doing was gonna work. It just backfired on him, put it that way. Because pretty much when you have an exchange, you're always supposed to keep customer funds one-to-one. Meaning like when you deposit that money, it's there. I'm not taking this money to go trade because the money is in one big pot. Like what your account say is just digital.
I get it.
Yeah. That's just
you put
numbers.
it in their bank.
Yeah. Just like a bank, you know, the money ain't in the bank. It's just digital.
It's not in your account.
It's
just
just a pot.
They got a pool. Here's what we owe you.
So that's what it is. So like, but once you take from that, it doesn't add up, right? So that's what happened, and then Binance kind of like, you know, forced it because they kind of knew, and then they liquidated their positions, and then they couldn't, you know, pay up.
Oh, they exposed them?
That's what really happened because they kind of knew that they was you know, pretty much.
I mean, they were buying properties.
Funds,
I mean, they
messing
were
with clients' funds. Like they was taking clients' funds and investing clients' funds instead of taking the profits that they make from the clients' funds. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now, if you take the profits, that's
different.
The company made that money. They were just taking funds.
They was investing the clients' funds. Risking the clients'
right.
And they was donating to different political parties and shit too,
bro. Yeah. Just manipulating people, bro. But that's what, like I said, that's what hurts me because I know for a fact, like, it can hurt people like myself that's trying to build something. And, you know, bro, he raised like hundreds of millions of dollars, bro. Like, if I go raise 100 million right now, you know how difficult that's going to be?
Yep. I mean, it's going to scare people away. But I feel like eventually.
So he hurts the industry, but also it makes people now learn. So that's the good part about it. Like, at least now, people are going to be like, you know, they're going to ask more questions. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to just jump in there just because, it looks good. You know, everybody here, you know, Tom Brady, Shaq here. You know, Shaq don't even know nothing about crypto. He promoting FTX, you know? Like, it's just one of those things, bro. Like, now people going to really dive into it and really understand. But if you look at every platform that failed in crypto, they was all centralized. Voyager, centralized, all centralized. Why?
Is Coinbase here to stay?
Coinbase is a bank. So, like, they're one of the strongest ones I can firmly believe in, just because, you know, they've been here the longest, bro. FTX grew fast. You know, you got to realize they grew to a multi-billion-dollar company within like 3 years. You know, less than that. So like, how did they grow that fast? You know, it's just one of them things. And then, you know, it's just they grew extremely fast. Like the dude went from nothing to like 10 billion, like. You know what I'm saying?
It's scary. It's scary. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's a rough period for the Web3, the crypto world, just because of one incident. Even though they may not even relate, right?
It helps it.
It helps it only to get rid of people, bad actors, and then also because it has to come out, bro, and because it protects the industry, and then it makes the industry grow up as far as providing new protocols and new regulations in place. And then, you know, just also the end user is now more educated because at that time, you know, when that happened, more people started taking their money off of exchanges and putting it into DeFi wallets like a MetaMask or, you know, a hardware wallet like a Trezor or a Ledger. They started thinking like, dang, like, why am I holding it on a centralized exchange?
You know?
I'm I mean, like obviously the whole point of bringing you on here was to highlight everything that you're doing, man. It's crazy, bro. It's amazing to see like somebody who grew up, you know, from your background, went to LSU, played for the Cowboys, and doing, you know what I'm saying, and making this big of a movement, you know, in the whole world. You know, it's crazy to see that. But then the other reason of bringing you on here is to also shed light on the transition, you know, for athletes, you know, because, I mean, you obviously experienced it early is what you said.
Yeah.
But we all know, right? We played for the Cowboys and we have friends that's still in the league. We all know how much of a struggle of an identity crisis that the players go through, right? And I feel like it's not shed, well, enough light isn't shed on it. And we all feel the same way, I'm guessing. Right? So touch on that a little bit. What can us as players, you know, us as former players, I mean, do to continue to shed light on it, and then also, but also like, you know, the call to action. And then also like, how do you think the NFL can help, and or how do you think that they're not helping, you know, and what they can do better, right?
Well, number one, in the NFL, I mean, from the meetings that we was in, they don't really teach a lot about entrepreneurship or just basic business. Yeah, you have like, you know, the common sense classes or like the financial one-on-ones, you know, but it's really, I think it's more so of a situation to where they don't want the wrong person in there, which I get that part too. But it gotta be like, I think it's gonna be more so like players gotta stick together and then like find things outside of.
I love that shit.
Yeah,
players gotta put players on, teach players.
That's the only way, bro.
It's the only way.
Because it's not gonna happen within a big organization like that. Like it's too much of a risk for them, you know. Because if anything go wrong, it falls back on them. So it's gonna have to be within the players to trust each other and build like that, you know. Because I mean, if not, who else? How else we gonna teach the other person that don't know? Because like transitioning wise, you know, you have to know who you are. You got to know what are you outside of football. You know, what are my traits? You know, outside of this field, like what do I like to do? You know, everybody like to do something outside of playing football. You know, I mean, you doing something. You just ain't probably, you know, look deep into it of how you can monetize that. But everybody likes something. You know,
what are my gifts? You know
exactly.
What I mean? Like
exactly.
We harp on our physical gifts so much, you know, because that's all we grew up depending on, right?
Yeah.
Our physical gifts.
Yep.
What are my like spiritual gifts? Like, what are gifts that God gave me, you know, to go and elaborate on the world or to serve people, to help people? Yeah. What are those gifts? Yeah. And we don't, you know, I was talking to somebody on the phone the other day, and he said he went to an NFLPA event, not to, you know, to talk shit about the NFLPA. I don't think that they're doing anything, you know, bad. You know what I'm saying? They might not be doing enough, but
it's basic. You know what I'm saying?
It's very basic.
Yeah. Right. It's very surface level. Right? Yeah. But he was like, he went to events and, you know, it was a networking event and he was meeting all these people. He was like, the problem was though, like, I didn't know what I was interested in. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was like, because they missed the first step. You don't even know who you are. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even know what you're good at. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a big step that everybody miss out on. Luckily, like us, was able to find that, you know.
Well, I think it was because partly of what Lewis said when he was 18 years old, when he wasn't playing, and he was interested in having his money make money. Yeah. And it's more about not finding who you are. It's about finding out what you want. And once you find out what you want, it kind of dictates, you can become what you want. You can become whoever you want to be.
Find out what your goals are, ultimate goals.
Your ultimate goals.
Your goal is to play in the NFL, right? But like, what are your ultimate goals, you know?
What do you want to accomplish? And then I think from there, it's like, what are the steps you're going to take? And you'll start, that's such a broad answer to me. Like, who are you? It's like, what do you do? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to achieve, right? Yeah. And so when you said that, you started learning about stock, and then you started unlocking gifts, right? Yeah. You started understanding, you started unlocking gifts for me.
Go down that rabbit hole, and it's
He went down the rabbit hole and he found himself. For me, it was, freedom of time, building wealth. And it was like I went down the rabbit hole. Now I'm making relationships. I know exactly where I want to go. And then for you, it was like you wanted to serve people, right? At the same time, you wanted to make money. So you didn't just open a gym. You started with a gym,
right? Yeah.
But you wanted to build. And so now you brought in the medical side. And now your gym is one of one. There's not many gyms like yours, right?
And I'm going to speak on this. And, transitioning is different levels of transitioning too. Because not everybody get to transition 5 years in the NFL. Some people got to transition, 1 year. Some people got to transition 2 weeks. You never know that level of transition, but the same end goal can still be there because it takes the same work ethic that you put into even getting to that level to even trying to do what you want to do outside of sports.
It's the same process.
It's the same process.
Just different material.
You don't have to start high. You can start low. That starting don't matter where you start at.
It don't.
Because you can have a lot and lose it all. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can have a little and make it all. So it don't really matter where you start. And I think that's a mindset that a lot of athletes have to understand when transitioning, because I think a lot of athletes go through that when you transition, you go through that depression stage, like what I'm gonna do. I know a lot of athletes that go through that because they talk to me and I'm like, just chill out first, but they go through that phase where you just depressed. That's why you see all these incidents, stuff, and I think it comes from depression because you come from such a high place, and it goes away immediately,
right?
And the perception from the public is totally different from the reality.
So wrapping it up, unless Darius got a lot, anything else, what advice would you tell, athletes that's in that phase right now, that's trying to transition, that don't know who they are, don't know what they want, or don't know what they want to do? What advice would you, all of us, right? What advice would we tell these athletes? Because it is a real problem.
Yeah.
It is an issue. And not only football, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's all sports,
yeah.
And I think it's an even bigger problem that our society don't really even have any empathy on us. And they see us as superheroes, so they're like, well, you made all this money.
He good.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
So what advice will we give them? You know what I'm saying? The people that's currently going through that phase, or people who's currently going through that phase, or people who to help them overcome that phase and not, because I truly believe that it's unavoidable,
Yeah.
But how can people transition faster or get through that stage sooner? What advice would y'all give me?
To be honest, my first advice, especially because if you can't do it yourself, because not everybody has the attributes to do it themselves, like how I did or like how you did. Mm-hmm. If they are struggling with that aspect, I feel like the best advice they can get is to find a mentor that played in the NFL or that are in our seats.
Right. Yep.
And it's our job to really bring them in and not be like, who is that person? Like, it's our job to really, communicate and talk to that person and really truly want to help them. Because I don't think, one specific sentence can change the whole situation. I think it's a process,
right?
And I think it's going to fall back on people that are in our seats to really, give them, the process to overcome that. Because if you can't do it on your own, some people need help, you know what I'm saying? And and not financial help, but more so that guidance and that mentorship. Right. So we have to be mentors, you know what I'm saying? And that's just my personal opinion. Yeah, because a lot of athletes that get, they don't make it, or they do make it and then they got a big downfall, a lot of people forget about them because they know who they were playing football or basketball no more. So we have to take it upon ourselves to be their mentor, be there for them and put them on that track because we went through it, and guide them, because I don't think one sentence can solve that problem. I feel like it's a process to solving that problem. You know what I mean? And we have to be proactive about it because, a person that can't figure it on their own can easily lose focus too, or lose track.
Yep.
So we have to go above and beyond as a leader. You know what I mean? And
like you said, if we want to change it, it has to be changed by the players, right?
It's gonna have to, bro.
And it's like when you're with somebody that's moving like that, that's doing it on the daily, that's really doing something, they might find their passion along the way. And all you need to do is just kind of just help them get there, right?
That's
help
it,
them
bro.
transition out.
Yeah.
And then, dealing with, you're on a pedestal as an athlete, right?
Mm-hmm.
Usually when you get cut or you're not in the locker room every day. So now you're isolated. So you don't have that status because you're not going to
And
position
people not going to
dinners.
invite you.
You're not
It's a
going to
whole
invite
different
it.
ball game,
You
bro.
might be in a different city and you
Yeah.
come back and people are doing their dinners or they got their family. Now you're isolated, right?
Yep.
And so it's important to find guys that you can stay around,
That's
all the
important.
time. And you're doing it right now with a couple active players. I mean, they're asking you what's going on. I know we talked about it, but you're helping them really understand, what's going on outside of the game and how to leverage their current platform.
You have to be their mentor, bro. I mean, it's really going to fall upon us because, I mean, like we talk, NFLP is basic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's deeper than that. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like, we have to really want to help because, like, we can't be on a pedestal ourselves. We can't be like, well, I don't know who that is, or nah, bro. Like, we gotta really help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the only way because helping one person change or get on the right path, he might learn from you to help the next person. Because we can't help everybody, but you never know who you may touch, and at least you put forth the effort towards your initiative. You know what I'm saying? To really make change.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I think that players, I think that us, and we're doing it right now, right? I think we need to bring more awareness to it.
That's what it has to be.
And we got to be more vulnerable about it.
Got to. It's easy to look over it. You know what I mean?
It's super easy to look over, but then it's also like, to me, I think it trickles down to the underprivileged community as well too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
To where we really came from, because they see us at our highest, and you as a little kid, us as a little kid, that's what we want to be.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
I want to be an NFL player.
Yep.
But they don't see. I mean, now they see this side of Lewis Neal, this side of Darius Jackson, this side of Kavon Frazier. But we the only people that's really showing that side of us, and we just now start showing it after we're out the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Why isn't like these players that's playing for the Cowboys showing, and they're probably not really doing anything outside the ball. But if they were, like, why not show like what you're doing outside of football? So these little kids,
it should be like a separate meeting. Like, let's all get together on this day and talk about this.
You feel what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Like what you're doing, and I think a lot of it comes with the maturity factor.
Yep.
I mean, because
and
a lot
leader positions. Because
leader positions.
Let's start there too. Because if you're a star player, you got more what?
You got more pull. You got more pull. You got more influence. You know,
it start there.
Man, I'm telling you, bro, if I would have saw like these top players as I was growing up, talking about stocks, talking about all these other shit, I would have grew up already knowing about it. I would have grew up like, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't seeing that. I was seeing these star players talking about Lamborghinis and all this stuff. So when I first got in the NFL, I seen these star players wearing chains and shit, not talking about investments. So the first thing I went and bought some chains.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
We have to be self-educated, bro, because if not, you can get taken advantage of at the end of the day.
You can get lost in the game.
Yep.
It's important to know that this game provides you, a greater life, greater opportunities, but don't ever get lost in it. Don't lose yourself in it, and don't get lost in the glam and glory. Because your glam and glory is going to be there in different ways in life.
Yeah.
So I don't, it's you never want to live off of who you used to be. You 38, late 30s, late 40s, late 50s, still talking about what you was doing in your 20s.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing now? And that was for me, for my transition. It was like, man, what's Darius doing now?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to have a story to tell you what I'm doing now, right?
Yeah.
And then whatever I'm doing behind the scenes will come to light.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just important to talk about, our transitions. Obviously, Lewis, you're doing something just above and beyond, and I love to hear it because it's like, I'm gonna do something like that at my scale, right? And then Kay's doing something like that at his scale, because it's not about competing, but it's about growing together in all your different avenues.
Exactly.
And then at the end of the day, it's like, yo, y'all want to go to take a PJ to Cabo and play 2 rounds of golf this weekend? Because we can all do it because we've all done it in our own avenue.
Yeah.
That's where I want to grow together and be together. So, man, it was a pleasure having you, bro. You're an inspiration. If you had any final words about, any Instagram handles, any cryptic wallet ads, but you're headed to the top, and we're going to be there to support you, bro.
I appreciate it.
And I need you on the
golf, man. I'm still waiting.
Listen, hey,
Bro,
you
you gotta help
can
me
borrow.
with my
You can use my clubs. I just got some new ones. I'm telling you, it's not only fun, but it's a networking tool, and it's another game where there's so many. Look, I'm about to go on a golf tangent here. Yeah.
And lastly, on my words, you got all of our support. I told you on the phone a couple days ago that let me know when your shit is public.
Yeah.
Because I'm putting some money in your shit right away. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because I want you to know that, like, this is bigger than just like having you on the podcast and talking to you and having you tell your story. Like, no, I really, really support you. It's just like you signed up at my gym and joined the membership.
Yeah.
We gonna do the same, like on some real shit.
Nah, I appreciate it, man. And
No question. No question.
I'm thankful, man. I don't have really nothing to say, man.
Hey, man, listen.
Just
you are the story. You ain't gotta have no more magic words, man. We appreciate you having on, and we'll definitely be having you on again soon.
How can we follow you? How can they find you?
Okay.
How can they learn more about what you're doing? How can they keep up with your process, your journey? Tell the
all my
camera.
handles on all social media at I am Lewis Neal, and that's what it is. I am Lewis Lewis Neal Neal. I am Lewis Neal.
And just
Instagram,
to let you know,
Twitter, all of that.
Just to let you know, his followers still been going up way past the league. Because I ain't gonna lie, I looked at his page today and I was like, when did he get 100K? Probably in Dubai. Yeah, appreciate you already, bro.